Plot armor. I hardly know her.
Nice. Good one.
Thank you. Welcome to Lost All Caps.
I'm Velvet.
And I'm Ariel.
And this is episode 6 of season 2, Abandoned.
Episode 34 of the podcast overall.
Yes. I do have to say, I immediately have to bring up what I've been doing in the last 2 days, based on your line. Because yesterday I went to see Weezer live.
I went to see Weezer.
It was great. I got Weezered in the flesh. I experienced Buddy Holly. It was great.
Velvet's been wheezing.
If anyone is not aware, actually, fun fact for you, Weezer have an album called Hurley.
They do indeed.
Where the album cover is a picture of Jorge Garcia, and it's really zoomed in because it's actually a picture of Jorge Garcia hanging out with Rivers Cuomo, the lead singer of Weezer. So it's just like...
They're just like friends.
They're just friends, and I think they were originally going to name the album something else, but they'd like picked that as the album cover or something, I don't know, but everyone just started calling it the Hurley album as like a shorthand, and then they just went, let's just call it the Hurley album.
Just call it the Hurley album.
So it's just called Hurley. None of the songs are remotely about loss, but it is quite good. I would recommend it. And
the album cover doesn't have any of them on it.
No.
Does it have the word Weezer at all?
It's just a picture of Jorge Garcia.
Objectively hilarious behaviour.
Great. So they're the thing is they're just inherently so silly.
Yeah.
In every way that matters. And I had a great time. They were great. And yeah, as I was leaving, I walked past a girl wearing a t-shirt that said Weezer, I hardly know her.
Amazing.
And I was like, that's incredible. Amazing. And I nearly stopped her to be like, great shirt, but I was like, I feel like everyone she's spoken to tonight has probably said great shirt.
Probably.
Because it was like the end of the gig, and I was like, you've been in a crowd all night with Weezer fans. They're all going to be going great shirt.
Yeah, but you know, always take a compliment. Like, even if you've heard it 100 times, it's still fun.
I guess so. But yeah. So I just had to bring that up.
Of course.
But I had a great time. Listen to Weezer, guys. They're fun.
Stream Weezer.
Stream
Woes.
Buddy Holly.
You woes.
I did woes.
And
He
woes
literally
everything
say
you wanted it to be.
It woes. He came out on stage and said, it's wheezing time. And then we all cheered. And then he said, are you ready to wheeze? And we all cheered again. And then he started playing a song.
It's incredible what group mentality does to you.
It's great. It's like, you know those tweets that are like, I love when you know the Morbius thing? And it's like, I love when he said it's morbin time and then morbed all over those guys. Like, he genuinely said it's wheezing time and then wheezed all over us, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he sure did. You can't say they're not on brand.
So yeah, that's my little tangent of the week. My little anecdote, what I've been up to since we last spoke. Unfortunately, they didn't play any songs off the Hurley album. According to the Wikipedia page, there are only like 3 out of 11 songs off of the Hurley album have ever been played live.
People do not like the Hurley album.
I guess. I think it was like released in a bit of an off period for them.
As opposed to all their normal periods.
Exactly. But it also features a cover of Viva La Vida by Coldplay. Which I have to say is good. They've got an album that is entirely covers. One of them is Paranoid by Black Sabbath. One of them is like, oh my god, it was like a Katy Perry song or something. It's like insane. It's a weird, it's just covers. And they're all the most random songs you can possibly think of.
Oh
we listened to a bit of the Paranoid cover. It's so funny. Because it's so like, this is Weezer.
Yeah. Instead of do 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 do, it's nee 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 nee. Imagine. Then it just goes into finished with my woman.
It's hilarious.
Oh, that was brilliant.
But enough about Weezer.
Enough about Weezer, if you can imagine such a thing being possible. So this episode.
You know what? I have a lot to say about this episode.
That's interesting.
I was shocked by it. Because
by the fact that you have a lot to say.
Yeah. I mean, as I often do. But
you always do, but I also think in the making of this podcast, in the making of this podcast, you've ended up with lots to say about episodes that we wouldn't necessarily have picked out as notable or interesting or our favourites.
I think I think it's sort of like the ones that I would always think of as being like, I have loads to say about them. It's like I've said it already, you know? I've gone on the tirade, sometimes to an empty room, about whoever. But then it's like something like this. Like, as you guys know, we're not particularly big fans of Shannon.
No.
And obviously this is Shannon's big episode. And so I was like, oh, you know, it's not going to have that much going on. But actually, yeah, I've got a lot to say about it.
Well, that's good. That's the format.
Yeah. So let's address the elephant in the room, I think. First and foremost, firstly, she's dead.
Shannon's dead.
And
I also want to note that Sawyer
is dying.
He is knocking on death's door, bro.
Sawyer is not doing well.
The scene in which, like, Michael is cradling his head in his lap, and Sawyer's like blackening out of consciousness, like, I would have left you behind. And Michael's like, shut up, man, don't do that. And the musical score, I literally wrote down, musical score implies death.
Yeah, truly. And it's the way he's like, well, I guess you're lucky I'm not you. And then he like smiles and then rolls his head to the side and shuts his eyes. And I was like, oh, he's dead.
He's dead.
Oh, he's dead. He's not dead.
He's not, because they're carrying him still. I feel like if he'd have died in that moment, they would have figured it out and not carried him.
They would have left him there. Hannah Lucia would have been like, we're not carrying a corpse.
Obviously. No, she didn't want to carry him when he's alive.
She wanted to leave him there. So like...
But... I think it's kind of crazy that they almost make us think two main characters have died in the same episode.
One fell swoop. Two main characters also who are very similar in terms of, like, archetype, you know?
And, you know, like, they're my two least favourite characters, sorry guys. So, if we can take them both out in one, I mean, it's a good day's work.
John's still here, though.
John is pissing me off in this episode.
He's always pissing me off, but this episode, he's just, don't even talk to me. Yeah. I have a lot of opinions on this episode. I think its main issue is that it's like, this is the episode where Shannon becomes interesting.
Okay, what do you mean by that? I'm not going to disagree with you immediately.
Well, because I would say, probably objectively speaking, her Walt visions, or seeing Walt, if he's real or whatever it is the most interesting plotline she's been involved with so far.
I'd agree with that because it's like you wouldn't expect Shannon to be incorporated in the kind of mystical side of the island. Because
she's very skeptical and very removed from the plot. So this is, like, very interesting. And that kind of comes to a head in this episode. And also, I would say this backstory episode, like these flashbacks, are far more interesting as an insight into Shannon's life and who she is as a person than Hearts and Minds ever was.
Oh,
so
agreed.
It's like, I mean, obviously, it goes without saying that Hearts and Minds sucked, but it's like, this is actually, like, you start, like, for me personally, I know a lot of people out there are kind of fans of Shannon now. I know when the show was coming out, everyone hated her, but I know a lot of kind of modern fans have come to like her a lot more. But personally, I never really liked her. But then it was like this episode, when we were first watching it, that I went, oh, you know, I do kind of feel bad for her now. And, like, actually, she's been through a lot, and, like, I can understand that why this has been really difficult for her, and, like, whatever. And I was like, okay, maybe she's going to get good now. And then it's like, and she's dead.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like it sets it up. And maybe that's on purpose. Maybe that's intentional, that it sets it up like she's going to become, like, really not really interesting, you know what I mean? Like, really plot relevant. And then she isn't. And maybe it's supposed to be like a bait and switch. But it reads a little bit tonally weird for me, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think mentioning that a lot of people didn't like her when the show was coming out is really important here, because I think they're kind of doing that on purpose, because they've seen the sort of fan reaction to Shannon and gone, okay, well, fuck all of you, in a way. Let's make an episode where we feel really sorry for her. And I often think that her end monologue, when she's saying, like, oh, you think I'm worthless, you think I'm a joke, you're just going to leave me, we get off the island and all of this, is kind of like the voice of the audience in a way, and it's like, oh no, I did think that about Shannon, actually. I did think she was worthless, and that I feel bad now. And then she gets shot.
Definitely. I agree with you, actually. That hadn't really come into my thoughts on the episode, but I do agree that I think this is kind of being like, you guys were all thinking that.
Yeah.
Now feel guilty about it.
Yeah. And it does that successfully. I completely agree.
Definitely. And I think maybe what it was that the writers sat down and went, okay, well, we're introducing all these new characters this series. You know, we've had like 6 new characters in the space of 6 episodes. Or, well, we didn't get any new characters this episode, but you know what I mean? Like, we've had a lot of new characters very quickly. Maybe they went, we need to reduce the amount of characters we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Who's someone everyone doesn't like? Okay, well, no one likes Shannon very much. Let's figure out a way to get rid of her. Which is kind of an awful way to think about the show. Because obviously they should just be telling the stories of the characters they want to tell. And also it's already got loads of characters. So it doesn't matter.
A few more, yeah.
It doesn't matter. They've shown that they can balance the storylines well. So it wouldn't have mattered if Shannon had survived, but maybe was part of the thought process.
This is the thing. It's like, I feel like we've said this before. They could have given Shannon a lot more.
They really could have.
But they don't.
It's like she's such a deeply two-dimensional character.
Yeah.
But that you get these tiny hints that there could be more, and then that's all you get.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't be asked to write a complex female character.
I see what you're saying in the grand scheme of things, but I think Shannon in the flashbacks in this episode is really compelling because it's a side of her that we've not seen before, and I like that. But I don't really like Shannon's behaviour on Island in this episode, I have to say. I think she's a bit annoying.
I think it's all very weird. It's all very weird what they do with this episode in terms of the on-island plotline. Because also I really don't like Saeed's behaviour in this episode.
Yeah.
And I think it's all really weird. And I just think like they're all kind of out of character. And they're all kind of not behaving in a way that makes any sense in the context.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's all just pushing them to the point of they have to get them into the jungle for her to die.
Yeah.
And so they had to set up this whole thing.
I mean, I think her giving the clothes to Vincent to smell and saying find him is actually really clever.
Great. That's really clever.
And in character and good. But I think a lot of everything else that happens with Shannon and Saeed, I'm just like, what?
It's just really weird. Because the thing is also like, obviously like in the beginning, we don't like it. We don't like it, we think it's a bit weird. But, like, they're together and they're, like, happy. But then it's just, like...
The scene of this episode, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a bit confused. I was like, so is he asking her to move in? That's what I thought was happening at first.
Yeah, I thought it was, like, move into my tent with me. But then it's like he's built her a tent.
He's built her a tent. But she already had a tent, presumably.
The thing that bothers me about Saeed's behaviour in this episode, and in terms of the relationship as a whole, but especially in this episode, is that it doesn't feel like he really likes Shannon all that much. It feels like he's into the idea of the relationship.
Ooh, interesting.
So,
take.
like, it's like, okay, he's built this, like, tent for them to have, like, their little romantic evening in. And he's, like... gonna like lay down with her or whatever, but then it's like when she's freaking out, he doesn't listen to her. He doesn't talk to her, and he tries to talk to her in the way that he's giving a bit of like a women be crazy thing in this episode, where he's being like, no, you're being unreasonable, you're being irrational, this is just because of your emotions. I know that emotions are like grieving her dead brother, so like fair enough, but also it's like, listen to her.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It really baffles me that no one takes the idea that Walt could be in the jungle seriously. Because it's like, I know that not many people know about the bottle, but it's like, surely immediately, it's like, if I was on that island and she came up to me and said I saw Walt in the jungle or in her tent, wherever it was she first saw him, and he was soaking wet and he was whispering, I'd be like, something bad's happened to Walt. We need to go look for him.
But this is the thing, it's like, I think Shannon immediately assumes that Walt is really in the jungle and he's running around and he's soaking wet because he's swam to shore or whatever. I, as an audience member, immediately assumed this was some kind of vision.
I mean,
or
so
possibly,
did I.
Yeah, ghost or something. And we've had that before, haven't we? With like Jack's dad and stuff. And you have to remember how skeptical all of them are about shit like that. Like, look at when Claire had the dream and she knew that Ethan was attacking her. Jack gives her the sedative and stuff.
I mean, that's true, but again, I'm like, believe women. Maybe the solution is believe women and don't listen to John. That's a separate thing. That's just, I don't think anyone should listen to John.
That's just a piece of it. That's just a freebie.
It's just a general piece of advice for life is believe women and don't listen to John Locke. Don't believe in men named John. And listen to girls. Is my advice to you guys. Yeah, but even that reads really weird to me. You know, that episode with Claire where it's like, calm down. This is your baby hormones talking. Take the anxiety medication. I'm like, believe her. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. She loves him.
Yeah.
And she really cares about him, and he's like not believing her. It's like she's got nobody to trust, essentially.
And it's like
really scary.
All he does this episode is confirm her fears that he doesn't really care about her.
Which might well be true. I never thought about like him not really loving her and just loving the idea of the relationship before.
Like, yeah, I feel like, to me at least, it reads a lot like he's kind of into the idea of being like, there's this girl. And it's like all the things he does feels like the things you do in a relationship, you know? Like, he gives her the shoes, even though we were like, why would you? They're so impractical. And it's like he makes the little date and he like builds the tent and he like tries to talk to her about like, you know, her things, but it's like it seems like he's not that invested in actually like getting to know her that much.
Yeah, I guess maybe he doesn't view it as a particularly serious relationship. Like, in the real world, they probably would have been on, like, 2-3 dates or something.
And then it would have just kind of ended.
But it's because they're seeing each other all the time, and also it's an intense environment where everyone is stressing all the time.
Yeah, and also it's like, well, her brother just died. You can't break up with her, can you?
Yeah, which makes it even weirder that he says, I love you, at the end of this episode.
Yeah, that I love you, it feels so disingenuous to me.
So disingenuous.
Because when he's saying, like, no, I do believe you, I love you, and I'm like, okay, but you don't. You clearly don't. You very visibly don't believe her.
Yeah.
And everyone can tell. And so it's like, what the hell, man? Like, you're lying to her.
Yeah.
And then it's like the episode ends and there's just like no resolution to that because she's dead. So she just dies completely unfulfilled, having no one to believe her and no one to really love her.
But here's the thing. Saeed sees Walt.
So then he believes her.
Yeah.
But it's like when he says that to her, he doesn't.
No, I agree. And from an emotional point, yes, it is unfulfilled. But from a plot standpoint, Saeed has seen Walt in the jungle.
Saeed has seen Walt, so he does now believe it's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we as an audience, 2 people have seen him. So we know that Shannon isn't hallucinating.
Yeah. And also they heard the whispers again, didn't they? And
yes.
Saeed he was like, I was dehydrated. The whispers aren't real.
Yes, he thought that he hallucinated the whispers the first time around, but he's heard them again. And all of the tail section heard them as well.
Yeah. So we know that that's real, and that's not just Danielle.
But what do we think about the whispers bringing the 2 groups together?
I was going to say about this, so it's like if we go down the route that Walt isn't really in the jungle and that he is a vision of some kind, it seems like what he was doing was bringing Shannon and Saeed to the tail section.
But then that's bringing Shannon to her death, isn't it?
Yeah. And so it's like, was that why Walt was appearing to her from the beginning? Because that's kind of sinister.
Yeah.
That the island is guiding people to their deaths.
Yeah, very sinister. But why did you say the island?
Well, I guess because I'm assuming if he's an apparition that he's some kind of manifestation of the island's magic. I mean, that's the kind of... that was what Christian, right? He was bringing Jack to the water. And that's kind of like, you can assume that's kind of like that was like a vessel of the island being like, the island giveth and the island taketh away, I guess.
I mean, you
the
say
island
you can assume...
brings you to the water, but it also brings you to the lady with the gun.
It's a pretty big assumption.
I mean, that's kind of always where I went with it, because it feels too convenient that Jack just happens upon the waterfall whilst chasing the ghost of his dad. It feels like his dad was leading him to the waterfall. And I feel like Christian wouldn't do that because he sucks. So then I'm like,
Christian may suck, but he probably still wants his son to be alive.
I mean, I guess. But, like, so I'm like, it was some kind of message from the island.
Okay, possibly. And I think John thinks that as well, right? Because he's like, you got to carry on chasing what you're chasing and stuff.
Yeah.
But it could also, like, there have been crazy coincidences in this show.
There have been. This is true. This seems more explicitly to be island magic to me because of the fact that Walt... It really doesn't seem like it's really him.
Okay, so there are some key differences between the Christian apparition and the Walt apparition. Number one, Christian is confirmed dead, Walt is not.
Yes.
Number two, Walt speaks. He speaks in gibberish, but he speaks.
And Christian didn't.
And he's also interacting a lot more with the person he's appearing to. So, like, Christian kind of just, like, stared at Jack, right?
And then just walked away.
Was it. Whereas Walt is, like, looking directly at Shannon and doing the shush and speaking to her.
Yeah, and when he runs away, it feels more like a come with me.
Mm-hmm. And also, he's appeared to multiple people.
Yes. I was going to say, I think the fact that Walt is whispering, especially, not just speaking, it links him with the whispers in the woods, which feels to me like what we had this episode was explicit confirmation that he is a vision, that he's not really the real Walt. But then again...
He could be whispering because he doesn't want the others to hear him.
I was gonna say, by the whispering today, what we got was an implication that the whispering was something to do with the others.
Yes.
Because they took Cindy.
Yes.
And then they heard the whispers, and then they ran away.
Yeah.
So what it could be is the confirmation of the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Which is that they're dragging Walt around with them, and he got away, and...
But then why is he dripping wet, though?
I don't know. They've just been keeping him soaking wet for a psychological experiment. I don't know. Maybe he just dries really slowly.
No, I think you're right. I think the nature in which he appears and then disappears, he's dripping wet, he's speaking in gibberish, it's unlikely it's the real him.
I just think, like, if it was the real Walt, he would speak normally.
Or he would just go, Shannon, help!
Yeah.
Take me back. And he would just run to her and say...
He would run towards her, yeah. Because if I was in Walt's position, obviously, whispering, sneaking around, but it's like if I'd gotten into Shannon's tent, by that point you've won.
Yeah.
Because you're in a tent with someone you know.
Yeah, no, that's so true. The tent thing, there's no way the tent thing could be him. Because how would he have gotten into camp and nobody's seen him?
Yeah. Also, surely if he'd gotten to the camp, the first thing you do would be try and find Michael.
Because Saeed's not going to immediately go, that's the island. That must be the island.
This is the thing, is because Saeed is crucially a skeptic character.
Yeah.
I think this is maybe part of the issue, sort of tonally, with this plotline, is that Shannon and Saeed are very big skeptic characters who are all about escaping the island and all about, like, don't care about the magic. So then plunging them into a very mystical plotline kind of doesn't quite work without another character alongside going, this was meant to happen all along. So, yeah, maybe that's part of why. And I get, like, if I was in Saeed's position, in terms of the wider scheme of the island, like, if it was, like, I don't know, Charlie, who'd come to him and gone, I saw Walt in the forest, he'd be like, well, maybe Charlie's a bad example because you'd be like, it's the heroine.
Saeed didn't know that.
But Saeed doesn't know that, that's true. So, like, I can understand why Saeed would react accordingly to, like, it was probably just a hallucination, you know, calm down, it's the middle of the night, you're hysterical, whatever it is he says. That's the sort of gist of everything he says to Shannon in this episode. But it's like, it's the fact that it's Shannon that makes it really weird. Because it's like, if you're claiming to love her and want to support her, you wouldn't tell her she's crazy.
Yeah, and also there's a way to say those things, isn't it? If you did really believe she was losing her mind a little bit, you would just be like, do you know what? Let's just do nothing today. Let's just chill in the tent. I'll get you some drinks. I'll get you some food. We can just take it easy today.
Yeah.
And then maybe you'll feel better after you've relaxed a bit or whatever.
Yeah.
Not, it was a dream. Stop causing panic in the camp.
Yeah.
You know.
Or you'd say like, oh, well, you've clearly been through a lot. You stay here. I'll take Vincent out. See if he picks up a scent.
There are ways to help, which he did not do.
Which he didn't do. And as someone who seems to be quite good, you know, when we look at the way he behaves to Danielle at the end of season 1, when she's kidnapped Aaron, that's like a perfectly handled situation with someone who's experiencing psychological distress. And he's able to completely understand why she did what she did and like speak to her at her own level and get the baby back and resolve everything with no fighting and no violence. And so it's like, why can't he do that with Shannon?
Yeah, I think this kind of thing is why I fundamentally hate the Saeed and Shannon romance so much. Because not only because it's like one of my favourite characters and one of my least favourite characters, and the narratives put them together and I'm like, no. But it's because the writing of the characters,
they don't really fit.
It doesn't fit, and they kind of act in such a different way when they're around each other, in a way that doesn't really make sense. Like,
absolutely,
it could have worked. There's a world where it could have worked, but I don't think that we're in that world.
Yeah,
we do not live in that world.
The writers didn't do it in a way that worked. They didn't put in the effort to make it work in a way that makes sense, really, to me.
So he just behaves so out of character.
He just
all the time.
really doesn't act the way he does with everyone else.
Like, think about that weird ass scene where he goes over to Boone. It's like, I'm not asking for your permission. What?
Yeah. Like, it's weird. It's really weird. And also, like, comparing Boone to Nadia in that one scene.
Oh my god.
It's just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I know what it's like to lose someone you love. We can only assume that he's talking about her because she's been like his main motivation for the entirety of the flashbacks.
Yeah.
And like, okay, yeah, like his friend from the Great Good and stuff. Like, obviously, that's happened. But it's like, you can assume from context that what he's talking about is Nadia. And it's like, that's really weird. Because then it's like you're talking to your current girlfriend about your ex-girlfriend who you killed a man to save and who you were going to America.
And you believe she's dead, but you don't.
To meet up with.
And you're like madly in love with her still.
And you're going to find her in the next life. I just... read the room, Saeed.
Saeed, babe.
You see how that's nothing like a stepbrother, right? And he doesn't know the whole weird... Oh, no, he does.
He does.
I was going to say he doesn't know the whole weird situation they were going in.
But Shannon tells him, Boone is in love with me. She never says, I'm in love with Boone. She isn't.
She very much isn't. It's one of the things that, like, does upset me, is that this plotline really did have potential, and Shannon really had the potential to be a really interesting character.
Absolutely.
And to do the, like, something they seem to be trying really hard to do with Sawyer is to do, like, a sort of villainous character who has a good side that they're trying to hide. Like, this is a big recurring theme with Sawyer.
Yeah.
So it's like, why couldn't they do that with Shannon?
Yeah.
You know? And they do that in this episode. They give her this whole dance plotline, which is really interesting. And then it's like, but actually we don't care enough about it to keep her in the show.
Yeah. And also, like, on Island as well, you know, she's really trying to find Walt and look after
she's trying
Vincent.
to look after Walt. She had a whole thing about, like, I can't take care of Vincent, and then here she is, like, looking after him, and it's like, she was developing as a character, and then they just decided to just kill her off instead of let her develop any further.
Yeah. I really think it was a mistake putting her with Saeed, because she would have been far more interesting on her own,
Absolutely.
not in a relationship.
Because, again, this is her whole thing, saying, like, in Hearts and Minds, when it's all about, like, she's being influenced by, like, the men she's with, and she's never been alone, and she's, like... She's
in all these awful relationships which are like, they, you know, she like randomly gets engaged to people and then breaks it off and like almost gets married to people and blah, 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 blah. And she's using them all to get money, and it's never healthy.
Yeah, and then it's like, what's happened here is that she's just had another one of those relationships.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, this one's healthier than like the previous one.
It's a lot healthier, and I think Shannon seems to be happy.
Shannon seems healthier.
Yeah.
she seems to be doing better. But then it's like, in this episode, it's like, what if we reversed all of that, actually put her in the same situation she's been in for her entire life, and then shot her?
Guys, hear me out.
What if you could picture the writers' table, can't you? What if we reversed all the character development we've put in for this character? How do you feel about that?
Keep talking.
And then the way we fix it. Okay, hear me out.
Well, because it would cause a problem.
Of course, it would
cause a problem.
Okay, so we take one of the only other women in the show. You know, the one who's like famously volatile and like kind of a bitch to everyone.
Oh, yes, yes. Our
So
excellent female characters.
Yes, our amazing three-dimensional female characters, both of them, right? And then we bring them into the same space, and then, what's going to happen when these amazing three-dimensional female characters meet? One of them kills the other one.
I love it.
Write that down.
Write that down.
Write that down.
Write that down.
Write that down right now. And then let's not change it at all during the process of writing this season. And it's like, what are you... Listen to yourself.
I feel like I would like to clarify, I do think Annalisa is a well-written character.
I do. Yes,
we haven't gotten a whole lot of her yet, but I really love what we've seen of her. But I do agree that definitely at this point, she is quite one-dimensional.
She's very one-dimensional at this point, but I think what's interesting about that dimension is that she's a completely different person to anyone we've seen before.
Yes.
She's got this, like, anger that not any of our other characters have, so she's unique. And once we do see more of her, she does develop a lot of really interesting depth. So yes, we're not trying to say they're all terrible.
However, you do have to acknowledge that she is a little bit of a stereotype of a female character.
Absolutely. Also,
the one that acts like a man.
Also, a female Latina character.
Yes, absolutely.
Always stereotypically, they're like sassy, angry, like not afraid to talk down to men. That's like such a like Latin American stereotype.
Absolutely.
And they definitely fall into that trap a lot with Annalisa, which is really quite upsetting.
But I think the actor plays her really well and gives her depth, because she doesn't just come across as that kind of like, you can't speak to me that way. She's like, I'm going to step on your open wound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is different.
It's different.
But it is a problem. And also it's the idea of like, we talked about the Bechdel test and how you never get women interacting. And it's like, this is one of the first... To be fair, actually, we've had quite a lot of women interacting this season. But it's like, now we bring two female characters into a space together, and what happens? One of them kills the other one.
That's what happened to the writers. They were like, hang on, slow down, guys. We've got too many women in the tail section.
Too many women.
That's so many women.
There's
now.
3 out of 5 are women. We can't do that.
We've got to one of them's got to get kidnapped immediately.
Okay, what if one of them gets kidnapped, and then we can't add 2 more women into the show? We're going to have to kill one. Let's discuss Sabrina Carlyle, shall we?
Sabrina.
So,
wow, what a piece of work.
What a fucking awful woman,
She's
right?
horrible. She's horrible.
She's maybe, like we talk about, there's some bad fathers in this show, but I think Sabrina might take the cake for worst mother.
She might do.
Susan's up there.
Susan's up there,
but I do think Sabrina's worse than Susan.
Sabrina is just so evil.
She's
horrible. She's really giving evil stepmother.
Really, truly, she is the evil stepmother. No wonder they have such a fucked up family dynamic. Because also, let's talk about this horrifying statement from Shannon when she's talking to Boone about her recently deceased father, and she says, she always resented my relationship with him from the beginning. So the beginning was when Shannon was maybe 6-7 years old, and Sabrina was jealous of her relationship with her father, which means she saw her as some kind of competition.
Yeah.
Can I just say, no wonder they're that fucked up. No wonder Boone behaved the way he did.
Yeah.
No wonder Shannon's like, obviously he's in love with me. What in the Sigmund Freud is going on in the Carlisle-Rutherford household?
It's a very, very good point.
Because what the hell?
Yeah, insane.
Because it's
Insane.
also like, Shannon says that, and I would be inclined to be like, oh, that's not true. And then you meet Sabrina and it's like, no, it is true. It is true, because she hates her.
Yeah, and there's no really good reason for it. Like, she calls Shannon lazy and stuff, and you kind of get the impression that maybe she's spoiled or something. But like, hello, Boone is the one who's spoiled.
Boone
and
is
he's your son.
horribly spoiled, and also it's like, if you did that, you know? Because it's like, we don't know anything about Shannon's mum, right?
No, I don't think so.
I think we know Boone's dad is dead, I think.
Do we?
I feel like we know about one of them's other parent, at least. But it's like, so if Shannon, let's entertain the idea. I think Boone said their parents got married when they were like 8 and 10.
Sure.
So it's like, let's entertain the idea that from those ages, they were living completely in this house on their own. In this flashback, Shannon is 18. That's 10 years. That's more than half of her life that Sabrina has been supposedly raising her. And so it's like, you can't be like, you're a spoiled brat. You did that.
Yeah.
You know? You could have done something about that. That's not just bullying her.
But a note on the ages here. So as you say, Shannon is 18 in these flashbacks, at least the first ones, when she's, you know, with Boone in the last one, and it's like, oh, I'm moving back and all of that. Possibly it's like a year later or something.
Maybe.
But we find out that Shannon is 20 on the island.
I think she has a birthday. Because I as far as I'm aware, she's 21. I think it's like she's 20 in that episode with the census, but she's 21 when she dies. I feel like she has a birthday on the island.
Okay, interesting. I don't know where you've gotten that from. Because
Just
surely Shannon would
Tumblr.
make a big deal about her birthday, wouldn't she?
Just Tumblr, but let me check, because I'm pretty sure. It says Shannon is 20 and raised by another, which occurs over 2 weeks after the crash. She's 21 and abandoned, which occurs 48 days after the crash, placing her off-screen birthday somewhere in approximately October of 1983.
But where have they gotten this information from?
I don't know.
Also crazy that she was born in the 80s. I forget how old this show is.
I know.
She was born in the 80s? What? Okay, well, whatever. Okay, fine. She's 21 at the time of death.
Yes.
But
yeah.
she's 20/21, okay? Which means it's been
about 3 years.
Roughly 3 years. Okay? 2 things to note at this point. 1, Boone gives Shannon alcohol underage. Because in America, you cannot drink until you're 21.
Dude, she never had a legal drink.
She never had a legal drink.
Isn't that crazy?
She spent her 21st birthday on the island. Terrible. And I spent, you know, my 18th in lockdown. I thought that was bad.
At least you went on an island.
At least I wasn't on Crap Hole Island, as she likes to call it. I understand why, like, you know,
It's a funeral.
It's a nice little bonding moment between them as well. Like, you know, don't tell.
Don't tell mum.
We're going to have a cheeky little drink. So I'm not like he's pressuring her to drink or anything like that. But I think it's worth noting that he gives her straight scotch from a hip flask underage out of a doll's teapot.
Head, that's so funny. Everything about that scene is hilarious. From Boone's haircut right down to the teacup.
The haircut is so bad!
Haircut is diabolical.
I'm guessing it's a wig. I'm guessing it's another terrible flashback wig situation.
I would believe he just had that haircut.
Wigtuation.
That would say wigtuation.
It's a wigtuation, though. Look at it. Anyway, the more important thing to note. So we find out, and okay, listeners, if you're a first-time watcher, you might not have picked up on this, because I didn't pick up on this the first time around. It wasn't until second watch through / maybe I was discussing it / whatever, that I figured it out. The car crash which kills Shannon's father is the same car crash that Jack's future wife, Claire Dunphy, is in.
Yes,
They
Sarah.
crash into each other, and we actually see Adam Rutherford die in episode 1? Yeah, episode 1 of the series.
And you do actually, if you listen out, they do say his full name.
They do.
They do say Adam Rutherford under, like, the wallet or the car or something.
Yeah.
And they say, like, age, whatever, and then they do the time of death.
Yeah.
So actually, we watched him
him die, and we get the 1 second clip of Jack walking past them in the hospital.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was just a silly little cameo.
Yeah,
To
I
be
thought
like,
that was
hey,
like a fun moment of being like, oh, they live in LA.
the characters all
The doctor's in the
interactive.
hospital, tee-hee.
Jack's there, in the awful flashback wig. But actually, no, it's because he's, treating this...
He's treating Sarah at this point in time.
Yeah.
He was there when... This was, like, same day.
Yeah. So, we know... So Shannon's 18, she turns 21 on the island. So there's 3 years in between that and the crash. That means Jack started dating Sarah, married Sarah, and divorced Sarah all within 3 years.
Yeah. It's crazy, but also it does kind of make sense to me. Jack feels like the kind of guy to propose after like a month. He does feel like the kind of guy to be like, I am in love with you. And you're like, it's week 3.
Yeah, and also we get the narrative of he kind of felt obligated to.
Yeah.
So maybe he would have proposed even if he didn't feel ready.
And I think she kind of has the energy of let's rush into this also.
Because she's like, you saved my life, it's a miracle.
It's meant to
life
be.
is worth living, I can walk again. Let's just go crazy and get married. So, fair enough, but it's insane when you think about the timeline.
It is crazy.
Here.
It is crazy to be like, between 18 and 21... all this life has been lived, Also, Shannon in that time has gotten married, gotten divorced, been in enough relationships to scam Boone out of like 30 grand.
Or more.
Plus. She's busy.
She's booked and
She's busy. She's on the hustle.
She's been to Paris. We don't know if that was before or after, to be fair.
It gives you a lot of perspective on these younger characters, doesn't it? That it's like, they're so young, Like, you think of, like, obviously, like, we are kind of their age. But, like, it doesn't feel that way. Like, when you watch the show, it feels very much just like this is a group of adults who are all kind of on a level playing field. Apart from, obviously, characters like, Rose and John. You're like, they're obviously the wise old sage. But it's, like, largely they all feel like they're on a similar playing field. But then it's like, oh, yeah, she's, like... She can't legally drink when the plane crashes.
Yeah.
I'm about to turn 20. That's insane,
I mean, that is insane. But yeah, no, it does really put everything into perspective. And I think they do a really good job in the flashbacks in this episode of not only de-aging her physically, like they don't give her an awful wig, but they give her that headband. And I think that is really subtle, but it does a lot of work. She really looks like she could be a teenager, but also of kind of showing her immaturity almost, or like the way she's had to grow up so fast. Because like in that first bit where she's like joking around with her friend and that creepy dad, mean, that's a random side tangent that they just throw in
it's like
there.
There's that immaturity in that, like they're giggling about it and doing like his accent and whatever, but then it's like what he's asking is awful, and like that's a dangerous situation for that girl to be in. But obviously they've been in those kind of situations enough that it doesn't bother them, which is kind of awful to think about. I think I have to say I think the dance thing is really interesting, because also I think if you look at it's interesting in the sense of like we get this whole ambition from Shannon that we didn't get before, that it's like she had this prestigious internship and this goal in life to be this teacher, that it's like that's not something you'd expect from her. Like personally I wouldn't expect her to be like, I want to work with children.
No.
I want to shape the youth. That she doesn't strike me as she strikes me as like a get them away from me type person. So that's really nice to see as a side of Shannon. But also, you think about like the culture of ballet and the whole like, you have to be like skinny and perfect and beautiful, and like if that's a kind of world she's been raised in, that kind of paints her character a little bit, doesn't it? You can kind of see that that's shaped who she is.
Yeah, because we often dismiss her on the island as quite vain and stuff, but that has been drilled into her from a young age. Yeah.
I also think it's really interesting the way the beginning of this scene is shot, because it's like you pan across all the little girls doing the ballet. I thought the
little girl was Shannon.
And you think the little blonde girl is Shannon.
Yeah.
And then it pans up and it's like, oh no, that's just a random little blonde girl. And I think that's just a clever little moment.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, this is going to be about baby Shannon. And like, you're going to see like baby Boone. And then it's like, no.
Yeah, which is
That
interesting.
was
I
really
don't really
fun.
know why they do that, but it really does throw you. Yeah.
It really does. You go like, oh, that's obviously Shannon. And it's like, nope. That's just some kid.
But yeah, but like I think that you see the transition quite a lot of her, like over this period of however long, let's say, 6 months or whatever. Like, she's very giggly and kind of like goofy at the start, and then she gets the phone call, and then in the hospital she's like breaking down in tears, and at the funeral and everything. And then you get her, living with her friend, this really exciting, great opportunity. And then like at the end, she's really got that whole like stressed look about her, and she's very like proud and doesn't want Boone's like pity, as it were. And that's a really different side of her, because I think like maybe the 18-year-old girl at the beginning would have taken the money, but she's now like, she feels like she's got something to prove.
Yeah, but then I think it's kind of a cheap payoff that it's then like you look into the future, and what she does is just, she uses that ambition and that drive to make it on her own, to plan long cons to scam Boone out of his money.
Yeah.
It's like, it feels kind of strange, and I guess like tragic to me, sort of, that she's then gone, no, I'm going to make it on her own, and then she's returned to what she knows how to do, which is like manipulate men. But also it just feels kind of stupid to me. It's like, if you'd asked Boone, he would have given you the money.
Yeah.
He offered it to you.
But she's gotten herself into this headspace where it's like, I can't do that.
At least in Hearts and Minds and sort of what we see on the island, it seems like she kind of, her feelings about Boone are seeing him as an extension of Sabrina.
Yeah.
And maybe that becomes stronger when it's like he starts working for her.
I think so.
And he's under her thumb. And before that, he was in New York doing whatever he was doing. So maybe it's that she thought of him as a different person, and then he changed. I mean, of course he probably does. We barely see Boone in this episode, so we don't really know. But I assume he changed quite a bit when he took that job and moved home and whatever.
Mm-hmm. It's not like, they don't have a good relationship when he turns up in Hearts and Minds, do they?
No, absolutely
Whereas they
not.
seem to have quite a good relationship.
So it's like the first
At
time
this
she's
point.
ever been happy to see him.
Yeah. So clearly things went south.
Clearly something happened. And then it's like, but we're just never going to find out.
No.
Because they're both dead now.
They're both dead, so...
And so it's like, what was the point of all that then? A little bit is how I feel at this episode. I'm like, why would you put us through all of that emotional turmoil of Hearts and Minds?
Why did you do that is really the question.
Why did you do that in general, but also why would you do that if you're just going to kill them both?
Well, maybe the plan wasn't to kill them both. We don't know.
I mean, obviously, but like, I don't think the plan was to kill Shannon. I don't. I think they were planning on killing Boone from the beginning, and killing Boone at the point it was in the plot. Maybe it was never going to be Boone, but I think it was always going to be a character death, to kind of remind you that they're all in danger.
And it works really well.
And it works
like,
really well. It's really
from a narrative
effective.
Perspective.
But I don't think the plan was to kill Shannon as well, because if they're writing both the characters in, I feel like you wouldn't set up a whole familial dynamic to then go, but they're both gonna die. But maybe they did.
Who the hell
Maybe they did.
knows,
I
man?
don't know.
One thing that I just thought, and I've never thought this before, so it's kind of interesting when you think about it like this.
Go on.
You were saying about how we don't see a lot of Boone in this episode. And really, in Hearts and Minds, we don't see a lot of Shannon.
Oh.
Is Hearts and Minds
Boone's
a Boone
episode.
episode? And then this is our only Shannon episode. Because when you think about it, we don't get any scenes...
That's interesting. It is kind of from Boone's perspective,
without
isn't it?
Boone. We kind of see it all from Boone's perspective. So the light in which she's painted might be...
more negative
because it's all
than
Boone's
it really
perspective.
is. Because he's obviously furious with her.
Yeah.
No, that actually makes a lot of sense. That does make a lot of sense.
Which is then crazy when you think about it, because it's like we went the whole first season without getting any backstory, like
anything from Shannon directly. And then it's like equally, maybe the way that Boone is presented in this episode is different to how he really behaved. I think it depends how you look at the flashbacks. Like where they fit sort of narratively. And I actually think it kind of varies from episode to episode. Like we've said, like whether the character is meant to be remembering these events or whether they're just context for the viewer.
Yeah.
But it's like if you look at this episode as Shannon is remembering this history, maybe it's that she remembers Boone so positively because he's dead and she misses him, and she regrets the way that they behave towards each other, and so she's just thinking about when they were really close, and maybe the relationship wasn't as easy as it appears to us because actually, you know, that's how she's remembering it.
That's a very good point. And also worth mentioning the parallels between people just not believing in her and trusting her, you know, in her past and also on the island.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a great thing with the show is that every character is an unreliable narrator. And so from episode to episode, you really have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Because all of them are telling it from their own perspective.
So shall we talk about the other plot line in this episode?
Quickly, while we're discussing Ian Somerhalder, though, I do just want to point out that in the credits, it said, like, guest starring, the actor who plays Rose and a couple of other people. I think maybe Bernard. And then it said special guest star Ian Somerhalder.
Did it now?
And what I wrote down was Boone, my special little boy. Because I was like, why is he the special guest star? He's the
special guest star.
He's not just under with the rest of the guest stars.
No.
He's the special guest
We
star.
roll out the red carpet for Ian.
It just really made me laugh. I was like,
that is weird.
We've got
to keep an eye out for that, because I don't know if that happens to anybody else.
I don't think that really, off the top of my head, because I remember seeing people in the guest starring pop up. Because, like, for example, whenever you see the actress who plays Rose's name pop up, you're like, oh, Rose is in this episode. We used
to be so diligent, didn't we, looking at the credits and be like, oh my god, this person's gonna be in it.
Yeah, so, like, I've never noticed it, at least. I'm sure it happens again, but I've never noticed it.
Mm-hmm. And noticing as well when certain characters move to the main.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure, like, the actor who plays Echo and maybe Anna Lucia as well start off in the guest starring, and now they've moved to main.
Now they're in the main. Because it doesn't start with Naveen Andrews anymore.
No.
So yeah, no, now we can talk about the other plotline. Okay. So I'm guessing you mean the tail section plotline, not the baby plotline.
Oh, yes. Oh, fucking hell. We'll get
to that.
The tail section plotline I'm actually very excited to talk about.
Crazy things happening in the tail section.
Ooh, we get a lot of lore.
So we'll cover the main thing in a second. I just want to draw your attention to Echo for a moment.
Okay.
Because we had a very weird interaction between Anna Lucia and Echo this episode. I do not remember all of the dialogue because I only wrote down 2 of the lines.
Okay.
But Anna Lucia, it's when they're on the, like, rocks.
Yeah, which, by the way, where the hell are they? Suddenly there are rocks.
Literally, where are
they?
Literally, where are they? And he's saying, like, we're going to have to go through the jungle.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're trying to get him back sooner, aren't you? So that we can save his life. I think what she says is something along the lines of, you would risk all of our lives to save him.
Yeah.
And Echo says, it's the only way I know.
Yes. Very interesting.
Very interesting. Because what do you mean by that?
It's the only way
and
I
then
know.
He walks away and she says, I liked you better when you weren't talking.
What does that mean?
What?
The way we're drip-fed information in this episode is so great.
We were literally saying last episode how he's a really mystical character. Excuse me, but they've not done what they did with John, where he doesn't talk for the first few episodes. And now it's like, what did they? But we just didn't see it?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't say much, does he? He's quite... His words are quite judiciously chosen, but
he does
completely
talk.
not talking.
The second or third time we see him, when he pulls Anna Lucia out of the pit, he says, like, what happened? Who are they?
Yeah, completely. So that's crazy.
We
also find out Cindy is Australian.
Cindy's Australian.
Australia! Huge win, apart from the fact that she gets kidnapped.
Immediately.
Oh my god.
I love Cindy. Can I say?
You can say, because I love her too.
I miss her. I miss her every day.
It really pisses me off the way that she's snatched.
The way she gets yoinked is like, what? Because it's like...
so stupid.
If you pay attention to that footage, right, they're passing the stretcher up the hill. You literally see Cindy. She has a stick that they're using to, like, support each other. She passes it to Libby. Libby passes it up to, like, Michael, I think, is next. And then it's like, you see Ana Lucia helping Libby up the hill. Cindy is gone.
Cindy's just gone.
Libby... Were you not paying attention? Because how did you not notice her get taken?
Literally ridiculous. They are all right there. It's broad fucking daylight.
I know, because obviously we'll talk about what Ana Lucia says, but she seems to be of the belief they only come at night, which kind of aligns with, you know, Ethan injecting Claire at night and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Of course you're going to come at night if you're sneaking around. There's no evidence that they're there at all.
No one around.
And I know that they don't leave tracks and shit and they're quiet and they're all these mystical things, but like, she just they're stood right there. And how did they not see? How did they swoop in and just take her? And also, Cindy didn't make any noise, no struggle.
She didn't
nothing.
scream. She didn't.
We didn't hear her get knocked out or anything like that.
And it's like, if they can just do that, that's terrifying.
It's very terrifying, but it's also pissing me off. I really liked Cindy, and we got about 3 lines of dialogue from her, and then she's gone.
She seemed quite cool.
They can't, why do we not have any Australian characters?
Maybe
It's
what
so
the others
stupid.
want is Australians.
Maybe
it's all
want
about, like, if we
Australian.
kidnap the baby and raise it in isolation, will it still have an Australian accent? That's the experiment. That's why they were interested in Walt, because actually he was raised he spent some of his childhood in Australia and some of it in, like, fucking Amsterdam or whatever it was, but he's got an American accent. Maybe they're like...
They're sociolinguists.
It's child language acquisition. Was anything linguistic on the Dharma Initiative list? You know, and it's like psycho-parapsychology.
Yeah. I don't
Sociology,
think so.
I don't think linguistics was part of the Dharma Initiative, but
they've expanded their remit. I'm fuming.
It's crazy. It's crazy that she just gets taken like that. Maybe Cindy was never there at all. Maybe she's like Walt. Maybe she was a group hallucination.
Don't piss me off.
That managed to hold things.
I know we're not spoiling things, but it never gets explained how they take her.
No, they do never explain how they managed to just take her
Like,
out from under their noses without anyone noticing.
Like, what are you talking about? Fucking Stretcher. It's all Sawyer's fault. I'm on Ana Lucia's team. Leave him in the fucking weed field.
Lucia is so funny. You won't notice it. You wouldn't notice it unless you were looking for it. It's just because I have Ana Lucia. I have Ana Lucia tunnel vision and I'm always looking at her. But so first of all, the scene is hilarious because Sawyer's like, leave me alone, I'm fine. Takes 2 steps, collapses in the mud.
Yep.
Objectively funny. I hope he won't mind me saying. Because that's just embarrassing. And then he collapses in the mud and you get a long shot of them in the field and they like turn and it's like Bernard and Cindy and Libby run over to get the water and Echo kind of puts his stick down and Ana Lucia turns around and raises her hands to her head like a stressed out mother of 4 just going, oh, for God's sake.
Oh my God.
She doesn't even pretend to not be frustrated. She's like, oh. And then doesn't move to help. It's so funny. It's so funny.
Iconic behaviour.
It's brilliant. And we had to rewind it so Ariel could see because it made me laugh so hard.
So speaking of iconic behaviour, the monologue which she absolutely eats. Oh, I love this monologue from her.
You remember Goodwin?
And then Michael's like, I don't remember Goodwin, actually.
That's really funny.
It's hilarious. But so not only is it a huge law drop, but it's just delivered so well. And
it's really acted very well.
But it's like we really get the impression that they're all so frightened. Even Ana Lucia, who's got this really tough exterior, deep down she's just frightened.
She's really scared.
So we find out the first night they were there, 3 of them got taken. I mean, that's huge. Think about how long it took before Ethan struck ages.
Whoever was undercover with them was hustling
Absolutely.
to get 3 in one night.
Putting a shift in.
They had to like kill 2 guys just to get 1 person.
Which maybe makes you think where the tail section crashed is a bit closer to the others' territory.
Easier accessible to their attacks. Maybe they're working their way up, you know. Also, there's a bigger group of people. So it's like it's more difficult to infiltrate, maybe.
Yeah. If Ethan's by himself out there, whereas this is like...
This could be multiple people.
She always says they, doesn't she? Not one guy.
Maybe she's just like gender inclusive.
Maybe. It's true.
It was me. I was there.
I am they. So, nothing for 2 weeks. And then they took 9 more. And if you think 1 gun and 1 bullet is going to stop them, think again. Love the way she enunciates that. Think again.
Also that there's only 1 bullet in that gun.
I know, and it was used to kill Shannon.
That's like
Chekhov's 1 bullet.
Chekhov's 1 bullet. It's like, you know, the pirate code thing?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's real. I'm pretty sure it's real and not just in Pirates of the Caribbean. But the idea that like when you maroon a pirate on an island, you leave them a gun with 1 bullet so they can use it to kill themselves when they run out of food. It's like the idea that that's kind of what's happened to them. They've been marooned on this island. They woke up in the water.
Yeah.
They've been left on the island. They have 1 bullet left.
Very true. And it's also like Ana Lucia has to use that bullet. She has to make that bullet count.
And also, when in the beginning they had 1 bullet left and they used it to shoot the marshal and it didn't work.
That's so true. That's so true.
But Sawyer hearing that, 1 gun and 1 bullet, and he's thinking about how he tried to shoot the marshal.
I don't think Sawyer's hearing anything at this point.
I mean, that's true. I don't know how much Sawyer was really taking in. But if he was...
If he was, it's in the subconscious. But yeah, I think that really explains, like, you know, Shannon seems to have received this wound in her stomach, which, by the way, looks really cool.
Really
so
cool.
Props
especially
to the visual effects
with her,
department.
like, pink top, and then it's, like, the red. Looks very cool. In the rain. Visually great, that scene.
Visually great. I think Ana Lucia was quite close to her when she shot her, because it's like, okay, she knows she's only got 1 bullet, and she's saying run. They're like, it's chaotic.
She's not going to fire blindly into the darkness.
No, she's going to wait until she sees a shape.
And what happened is obviously she's seen a person and gone, that's the others, which you would do in Ana Lucia's situation.
Absolutely.
100%. And she's shot. And obviously she's gotten close enough to know it's someone she doesn't recognise. And then she's shot.
What, I think in case she shoots Cindy?
Well, because it's like, what if it's Cindy? What if it's Michael's run off in the other direction? You know, It could be someone she knows. And then it's like she gets close enough to go, this is a stranger. And that's when she pulled the trigger, I think.
She seems to know that Saeed and Shannon aren't the others. When she sees
them,
like Saeed holding Shannon's body,
she seems to realise, I think. Because they don't look the way they've seemed to describe the others, the way we've seen them with, like,
although it's
no
the
shoes and
pissing rain,
socks
so
on.
how good of a look are you getting? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it seems like she knows.
They don't look particularly clean, but maybe it's like, maybe it's just a kind of, I mean, again, it's only a few split seconds at the end of the episode, so maybe it's just like a...
At the very least, it's like a whoops.
Mm-hmm.
But the interesting thing, well, there's many interesting things about that monologue that she delivers, but an interesting thing is let's do some maths, right? So they took 9 and 3, that's 11.
Yeah.
There are 5 of them there, Ana Lucia, Echo, Libby, Cindy, Bernard. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So that's 16. There were 28 survivors.
23
survivors. So we have Goodwin.
Yep.
That makes 17. So we've got 8 people unaccounted for.
Yes. No. 18,
no,
19,
6
20,
people.
21, 22, 23, yeah. 6 people unaccounted for.
So what happened to those 6 people?
Interesting, yeah. Is that a plot hole?
Is that a plot hole? I guess we'll find out. But is it? I mean, how many people have died on the front end? You know, we've had Scott, we've had Joanna, we've had, Boone. Clearly they don't have any medicine. We found out this episode Libby is a psychologist.
Yes, so I'm assuming Libby was the tail section's doctor, and the fact that she's a clinical psychologist maybe means that she's not as good at treating
very good
people's
medical
wounds.
training.
Yeah.
Because obviously she's focused on the mind.
Mm-hmm.
She wouldn't have medical training, so I guess anyone who was injured in the crash. Other interesting thing Libby said, when Echo said that they saw them walk past, did you see the kids?
Did you see the kids?
So that child
Huge.
with the teddy bear was in the crash.
Yeah.
Well, we can assume.
Unless
Unless they have multiple
At the very
kids.
least, there were children.
There were kids in the tail section.
that were taken. Once again, the others.
The others are after the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so them hearing about Walt, they must be putting the dots together.
Yeah.
They must be thinking, I don't know if they've told them about Claire. I would assume they've not had time for that.
No.
But like, if I was in the tail section, I'd be putting
But then
two and two
that's
together.
awful, isn't it? Because it's like, you know, these kids, we don't know whose kids they are. Maybe they're Libby's kids.
Maybe they're Libby's
or
kids.
like, maybe they're someone who's dead and then the group had to look after them or whatever. But it's like, they clearly were taken, just like Michael's son was. So they must understand how Michael is
going
feeling.
through.
But they still have this attitude, which is like, we have to just keep
They're
going.
still so scared of what the others can do that they like, we have to leave it.
Ugh. It's just gut-wrenching, isn't it?
It's awful. And it's like, I think we've come into meeting the tail section at a really interesting point, because it's like, you know, in like a horror movie or like a slasher especially, where it's like the first death is really scary, and then by the end they kind of don't care when people die. They're like, we just have to keep moving. Is that we've met the tail section in like the last 10 minutes of the slasher movie. And we're going, why are you acting so crazy? You know, one death is a crazy important thing, because to us it still is.
Yeah.
We've only had 2 major character deaths so far, one of which happened this episode. But to them, they've been having that for the last, 50 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just such an interesting dynamic, that they're in this fight or flight situation that's terrible. And of course, if you're in that situation, you're going, just leave Sawyer behind. It's not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're all going to die anyway.
Yeah.
Because that's the frame of mind you'd be working with.
Absolutely. Oh, it's so interesting.
I think just the clash in like behaviour is so well written as well.
Yeah.
The way that like Jin and Michael will just start yelling in the jungle, and every single time they do, all of the tail survivors look terrified and are like, what are you doing? Don't do that. It's just it's so well done. It's insane. I also will say I really liked the moment where Michael kind of takes charge when Sawyer faints, is that like the kind of engineer jumps out again. He's like, you help make a stretcher? He's like, I need 4 long sticks that are sturdy. It's like he's building the showers and the raft and stuff. It's really fun.
It's really clever. I mean, I wouldn't know how to make a stretcher.
Yeah, and I like as well that he kind of turns to Echo and he goes, Mr. Echo, could you help me build a stretcher? And he just goes, yep. Walks off. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. I wonder why, Echo and Michael feels like he has a bit of an affiliation with Echo. Is it because he tried to look for him with Jin? He tried to help.
Maybe that when the rest of them were willing to leave him behind, Echo came after him.
Yeah.
He seems to have a bit of a he trusts him. Also, I think because Echo seems to have a bit of authority, and obviously Anna Lucia isn't on board with the plan, so I guess if he wants to help, then the others will get involved. That's when he asked Bernard, can you find me some 4 sticks?
Yeah.
And he, I think if he'd gone to Bernard first, he would have been like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, that's very true. Some of them are clearly leaders, some of them are clearly followers. And that doesn't mean they all have the same opinion necessarily. Like, we see Libby going like, Anna, we need to help him. And Cindy going, maybe we should just keep moving and stuff like that. You know? But I think they very much divert to Anna Lucia as an authority. But I think Echo is within that as well.
Yeah,
definitely. They trust Echo.
They trust his opinions. He's obviously done something to, he's good with that massive stick. So I feel like if I was in a fight with the others, I'd trust Echo.
Well, Anna's got her 3 weapons.
Anna has her 3 weapons, it's true. But Echo, just physically, I could hide behind him.
Yeah.
You can just stand behind him and they won't even see you.
Yeah, all good.
They might see your hair
Oh, shit.
poking out from the top of his head.
But yeah, so let's So speaking of it being like a horror movie, I wanted to just quickly mention that scene after. So as much as the Cindy kidnapping pisses me off, the scene following it's really good because they're all shouting for her and stuff. And then we start to hear the whispers. And I think Libby's face is excellent. Like she says like, oh God, and you just really see that terror. And then you've got Ana Lucia yelling, run.
I think that scene is shot so well in that you get everyone's face individually and you realise that everyone can hear it, you know?
Yes.
Because previously it's only ever been one, I was going to say cast member, one character.
Why were you going to say cast member?
I don't know. I had to like pause then and be like, don't say cast, what are you talking about? One character who has heard it at a time, so we never can quite trust that it's real. And this is when we realise that if they can all hear it, it must really be happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very much linked to the others at this point because we know that they're...
Right after Cindy got taken.
They're
there. Yeah. They're close by. You know they're close by because where did Cindy go?
Yeah.
Walt took Cindy. Come with me.
And before, we'd only ever really heard snippets, and then we heard it all comes back around.
Which may not have really happened.
Right, because that would be a ghost.
That would be a ghost.
Wouldn't it?
Or also a ghost who didn't die on the island.
Yeah.
And so that kind of raised some questions. We talked about how that might be that Sawyer was hearing that in the whispers because that was what he was thinking about. And that's obviously a sentence that's like in his head.
Exactly. But I wrote down some things that I thought I heard.
Did you catch some words? Because it sounded really close to it was like just quite enough that you couldn't quite hear.
It's so frustrating because it really sounds like words, but it's not, it's tenuous. So I wrote down either high or higher, and then some, and get some. I heard get some.
Okay, interesting.
What could it mean? Which could mean nothing.
If you heard high or higher, that could have also been hide.
Hide, yes. But then why would the others be saying hide? Because they know Anna's got the gun.
Yeah.
Maybe. Could it be Walt saying hide to Shannon?
Yeah. I mean, we can't tell anything about what Walt's saying. I really don't know.
No clue. Get some. What could it be? Get some
Cindy.
People. Yeah, get Cindy.
Get Cindy.
Oh my God, speaking of, at one point Ana Lucia went, shut up.
That was brilliant.
That really made me giggle because the show Disenchantment is, I would say, a disappointing show.
It is. It's made by Matt Groening, who created Futurama and The Simpsons, and which are obviously both very funny shows.
We're huge Futurama fans in this household, and so we were really excited when he brought this new show out.
And it was like a fantasy, and we were like, this is going to be great.
Yeah, it's kind of like medieval-y vibes, but it's, like...
You know, the house is also like a fan of like Lord of the Rings and D&D and stuff, so we were like, this is going to be good.
This is going to be great. Unfortunately, I personally don't think it's very good.
It's not, it kind of almost, it's like, you know how people say, oh, in Lost, they set up loads of stuff and they never follow through in it and never the questions are never answered. That's very much what Disenchantment is like.
It actually is.
It's so packed with lore that never really gets followed through on.
So
and
many,
it's like
dangling,
It's like occasionally quite funny, but largely a lot of the jokes I feel don't land very well.
The only joke that I really remember laughing at is, so the main character's mum, she really idolises her. It's like a dead mum situation. Like,
she's like, my mum was perfect.
I had been with my mum, and then you find out her mum's not dead, and she's also evil.
And it's like,
evil.
She's like, I'm so obsessed with my mum, and the mum is like so visibly mean to her the whole time, and she just really doesn't pick up on it until like the massive evil reveal.
So there's a really great moment where the mum goes, shut up. And it's like, it's really fun because it's like, you think she's being nice, but she's actually being evil. But also it's really funny, and I'd never heard that really before. Funny. She's like, shut up.
And she's like, it's like she's like laying in bed, I think, and it's supposed to be like a soothing, and then she goes, shut up.
Shut up. And I really found that funny. And then to find out that it's in Lost, hilarious.
Also, it really reminds me of, like, I don't know how true this is, or how much this is just something we were told in theatre, in, like, when we were kids. But that, like, actually shh is louder than talking.
Oh.
So that like, shushing someone is actually louder, or something to do with the pitch or something. It's easier to hear than just whispering is.
Oh, interesting.
So we always got told, like, you know, when you're backstage and it's like youth theatre where everyone's giggling and talking to each other and they always say be quiet backstage, we would always be told it was just like, you have to just say be quiet and you can't shush because the audience can hear you shushing. So whenever people shush each other in TV shows, I'm always like, don't, shushing is louder. And so that is like the way she's like going, shh, shut up. I'm like, yeah, just say shut up, you know?
Yeah.
Don't shush.
And then
Also,
later on she goes, how about you shut your mouth?
But they've made it back. So how long have they been traveling for? A day, right?
I think so. Well, let's think. They wake up, don't they?
They wake up in the morning in And Found.
What? What were you talking about? What morning?
In the tail section.
Yeah.
They're in the hatch and they go, okay, everybody get up, we're moving out.
Right, that's
and
not
they
what I
go
meant.
and like gather food.
Yes, they do. But in this episode, they're all like asleep and Cindy's on lookout in the middle of the jungle.
Oh, okay.
So I think probably max 2 days, but probably a day and a half because they had to go on the quest to find Michael because he ran off.
Yeah, I think they didn't really set off because it was like they were gathering food and like water and then they had to find Michael. So they probably didn't get very far that first
It's
day.
like we're going on a day trip and then I need to pee. Wait, no, I was meant to have a shower today.
Wait, no, I didn't pack my lunch yet.
Yeah, and Anna Lucia's like, come on, it's 3 p.m, we need to leave the house.
Yeah. Anna Lucia very much has the energy of like stressed out mother of 4.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, we need to get the kids to football. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Or like also just like it truly is the phrase herding cats. I feel is just what's constantly going through her head. Someone needs to do one of those, you know, the art of like the one character with all the like baby reins and then all the other characters are like attached. That's Anna Lucia to me.
Yeah, but the difference is she has whipped those babies into shape. Like she is running a cat army. She's herding cats. She's running a cat army. Those cats respond to her, okay? Better than the obedience dog that Madison is. They know.
I did notice as well, was one bit where Madison really made me laugh in this episode when Shannon's like going through the suitcases and you can like see the dog slightly in one shot and she's just sat there like panting, looking ever so happy.
Oh my god,
being
that
like,
dog.
I'm having a good time, and then it's like, right, sniff this, and then she goes like, oh, I'm in the scene. It's like, it's so funny because it's like, Vincent don't give a fuck.
Literally.
Realistically, Vincent would be like, I know these things, you know, but he's like, don't care.
Vincent does not give a fuck. Vincent is
Vincent's
just
looking
so
past
unbothered.
the camera at his handler.
Yeah.
And she's going, I'm doing a good job, right? And the dog owner's giving a thumbs up from behind the camera. Often I find if you pay attention to like animals and TV shows, often you can tell they're looking past the camera at their like owner.
Absolutely.
It's really fun. But yeah, that's yeah.
Here's a question though.
Okay.
Why does Vincent run to Boone's grave?
What could be many reasons.
Plot significance.
Plot significance. Okay, first of all, obviously plot significance.
Yeah.
But no, so where is Boone's grave geographically in relation to the camp? It can't be that far away, right?
I don't think so.
So maybe it's just that he has been there before. Or maybe like Walt walked him down that beach or something. The other option I think is just that he was just running.
Yeah.
You know? Or maybe like, you know, maybe he ran into the jungle because he went, Walt, I know where Walt is, and then like ran into the jungle where he was like expecting him to be by like, I don't know, the tree where they threw knives or something. And then he just got there and then just forgot what he was there for and went, I'll go back to the beach now.
Yeah.
Like I think it could be all manner of things.
Yeah, I guess it could be. It just feels a bit abrupt in a way that is kind of funny and a way that it shouldn't be, I think.
It feels a bit like too perfect. Like when Shannon kind of goes like, "Ugh," I'm like, yeah, I'd be pissed off too.
I'm like,
I want a reminder of
run
this.
straight to Boone's grave, like what? Yeah,
it's a bit strange.
but there we go, I guess.
But that shot is really cool, where it's like Shannon, and then it moves behind the cross, and then refocuses and you see his name carved in.
That is cool, because we didn't know that before, that it had his name carved in it, and I'm wondering who did that.
Yeah.
You know? And also, who's in the grave next to him?
Joanna? If they got her out, they probably didn't get her out of the water, did
Scott,
they? No, yeah, it'll be Scott.
Joanna's body, I assume, is in the thing, and I don't think they buried Ethan.
I would assume they didn't bury Ethan.
Like, near the camp.
The marshal we know is on the other side in the jungle, because they dug him up. They burnt all the bodies that died in the wreckage.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it's Scott.
I feel like they wouldn't bring Ethan back to camp to bury him. Like, they would just... Oh, no, wait, we see... Don't Charlie and Hurley dig a grave for him? I swear Charlie digs a grave for him or something.
For Ethan?
For Ethan, yeah.
Maybe.
I feel like we see something like that. Okay, so I guess it could be Ethan, but I don't think they would give him the cross and stuff. Like, I don't...
No, it feels like they would bury Ethan more for the sake of not having a rotting corpse. Like, you know, like Goodwin was left... We said, like, it seems like he was left there as, like, a reminder.
Yeah.
It feels like the opposite. They'd be like, we'll bury him so we don't have to know he's there.
Charlie, it talks about doing it for psychological reasons. Like,
Yeah.
I need to bury him because I killed him kind of vibes.
Which is, like, totally fair.
Mm-hmm. Ugh, so speaking of Charlie... Oh.
Well, hold on. Before we start talking about Charlie, I didn't finish what I was saying about the tail section. Before we start talking about Anna Lucia being a stressed out mother of four.
Okay, go on then.
Okay, well, what I was going to say is if it's about a day's travel, then it's like we've got a better kind of scope of how big the island is now.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, I forgot we were talking
and,
about
like,
that.
what locations. We have this hatch that's like a day's journey from where they currently are. But, I mean, they're further out, aren't they? Shannon and Saeed, you know, Shannon's run off. So it's not like we're right by the beach.
Mm.
But it's like, this is a kind of idea, but like they were far away enough that they've never crossed paths before.
Mm. I also think, like, they've been pretty brutal and ruthless on their trek, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it probably would be longer than a day and a half a day for anyone from the main camp, because they would go, hey, let's stop and have a drink. Hey, let's have a proper campfire.
They'd be casual.
Going.
Yeah.
Whereas Anna's like, no.
We've got to keep moving, which
Yeah.
fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was just going to say, basically, point that out, that we've got a bit of an idea of,
Yeah, it's a really
also
good
of
point.
where, because obviously the plane broke in half over the island.
Yes.
What kind of happened midair. That's crazy that, like, how fast the plane was going, that they fell 2 days apart. That's weird, isn't it? To think about.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I guess the cockpit was, like, not that far.
Yeah, I mean, how did that break off? There was a double break.
Yeah, it broke off after. I think it was, like, the tail section broke off quite early on in the crashing.
We see it, don't
Yeah,
we? When
we
Kate
see it
is
happen
there.
because Kate's right there. And then I think it's, like, the front, the nose breaks off and then everybody blacks out. So no one really knows what happened after that. But yeah, that's much closer. That's just kind of interesting to think about to me, the trajectory of the crash and that kind of thing.
There's probably loads of physics involved.
Yeah, I wonder if they, like, calculated it, you know, how far apart they would reasonably be.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I was going to say. We can talk about Charlie now.
I don't want to.
So Charlie's being insane.
Yes. I hate this plot line because Claire's the only one with her head screwed on.
First of all, Shannon, tell Claire. When she, like, wakes up and she's like, what happened? It's like, Shannon had a nightmare. I'm like, girl, Shannon, go talk to Claire.
Yeah, actually.
Because Claire will believe
Claire
you.
would be the supportive person.
Because
that
also,
she needs.
one of the reasons why Shannon's freaking out is because she knows they found the bottle with the messages in. Claire
Claire
also
knows
knows that
that.
because Claire's the one who found it. So if Shannon had gone to Claire,
Gosh.
women!
Yes.
If Shannon had gone to Claire, this plotline would have gone so differently. Because she would
Hashtag
have
women supporting women.
completely believed her.
Absolutely. That would have been great.
First things first. Firstly. Secondly,
So Charlie's being
a dick. But also when he says like, oh, he's going to need feeding now before he can go back to sleep, and then he'll be awake and he'll be like crying in the daytime. And then he takes him, and I'm like, what are you feeding him?
Yeah, surely he's still being breastfed at this moment in time.
He's about 2 days old. Of course he's still being breastfed. They don't have bottles. Yeah. Claire doesn't have a breast pump. They're on an island. I was like, what? It clearly just was a thing that I just think wasn't thought through by the writers.
Yeah.
Where it was just like, write some like baby nonsense and then have Charlie take him. Because I'm like, if he needs feeding, don't take him away from his food source.
Also, on one level, could be Charlie doesn't know what he needs.
Charlie doesn't know what he's doing with a baby.
It's just, he acts so weirdly, and I think Claire really understandably freaks out. And like the way that she's just like, I don't remember marrying him. It's like, yeah, girl, why is he behaving like that?
I don't understand why Charlie seems to feel such entitlement over the baby.
Oh my god.
Kate's the one who delivered him. You just stood there.
Why have you just decided that you're the baby's dad? Like, no, Claire did not agree to this. Aaron did not agree to this.
Kate's the baby's dad.
Kate's the baby's dad.
This baby is all of ours, but not Charlie. Brackets, but not Charlie. That was the addendum to that statement. Yeah. Not Charlie's, though. Just strange and weird. Is what I got to say about that.
Yeah.
I do like John doing the swaddling, though.
Yeah.
That's really cute. That baby, oh my god, biggest eyes in the world. So cute, looking up at John, all like, oh. I was like, oh, so cute.
And what I mean about Claire being the only one who has her head screwed on, she has a great line in that scene where she goes, "Cradle's great, it's the baby that's the problem." Iconic.
She's brilliant. She is brilliant. She's so funny.
And then a bit more wankery line, but what I did write down is John says that babies like to be swaddled and feel constricted and stuff. And he says it's not until we're older that we develop the desire to be free.
Fuck off.
So obviously that's a bit of it's like an eye roll moment. But I did talk about in And Found how freedom is one of the recurring themes. So I thought I'd mention it given that it's literally like the next chronological episode.
Yes. Freedom is obviously an important theme, especially for John.
Especially for John.
He has obviously an intense fear of being trapped. So yeah, okay, if I was John, I probably would say that. But it's also like, don't be spitting metaphors at her. She gave birth like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I really think that interaction is so different to the interactions with Charlie. Because like in like series 1, he's genuinely very helpful. Like when he's like, he builds the baby sling.
Yeah.
And when it's like, when Saeed says, like, you want to help her with her baby, he seems to have taken that a bit far. But, like, he's being very helpful, and I think that's, like, the level John's at, where he's like, I'm going to offer you some help and then leave you to it. But I think what's happened is that Charlie obviously has been one of the only people involved with the baby, so has decided that he's the authority on the subject, which has, like, perpetuated this idea Claire has that everyone else knows more about her baby than she does.
Yeah.
Because obviously Claire wasn't prepared to be a parent.
No.
Because she wasn't under the impression she was going to keep her baby. So, like, of course she's not done the research. She doesn't know about swaddling or whatever. So that's fine. I'm not blaming Claire in any capacity.
No, and I think her concerns are very valid.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's actually really nice to have, like, we talk about two-dimensional women in the show. I actually think it's a much more three-dimensional representation to have her be, like, she's kind of a reluctant mother, but not in the sense that she doesn't love her baby. Because she does love him, and all she wants is to keep him safe, but she just doesn't really know what she's doing.
Yeah.
And she keeps being like, I wasn't meant to be doing this.
Yeah.
And I think that actually is a very common feeling for parents to have. And so that's actually quite good that they've written that in. Although while we're talking about the writer's portrayal of women, the three-dimensional take is about motherhood. Just worth noting. Just
putting it out there.
Just putting that out there. But yeah, then what happens is Charlie seems to get jealous of John.
What the actual fuck? Why? Why? Are you getting jealous that someone is helping Claire with the baby? The baby is all of ours. Come on, get that through your head. And it really seems like he views John as a kind of romantic rival. That's really the energy I get.
It really...
And I'm like, what are you talking about? The age difference between Claire and John is probably 30 years.
It's really ridiculous. John is more than anything else weird grandpa.
Yeah, absolutely. When he smells the baby, that's a weird grandpa energy.
Yeah.
And that's great. And I don't think neither John nor Claire view their relationship in that way. Until Charlie comes over and makes it weird. And then John makes it even weirder later on.
This is the thing, is then John clearly is trying to help.
John...
By being like, I'll give you your baby back. He gives it to Charlie, doesn't he? And then goes, I'll get on with my business. But then he says, I didn't mean to, like, overstep. Something like that.
Yeah. What are you talking about? I didn't mean to overstep my bound...
So
I feel like I've been slapped in the face.
So John, what that conversation is, I was just helping Claire. I was teaching Claire to swaddle. Do you know how to swaddle? I can show you.
But Locke makes it worse by saying that. And then Charlie is
He does, because then what he's doing is, like, confirming what Charlie's suspicious of.
Yeah.
Because by saying that, it's like that creates an implication that there was something to overstep, first of all.
Yeah.
And that John was overstepping. Because by saying I didn't mean to, what he's saying is I did.
And he wasn't.
And he wasn't in any way.
He was just trying to help. The baby was crying. He's like, I think I know how to stop it crying. And he does. Like, hello. Hello. Is this thing on? Hello.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the only one talking any sense here. And then, I mean, I know. So he's being a little bitch because he's found out that Charlie is keeping the heroin. Right?
Yes.
But that doesn't really excuse the fact. And I think this show treats Charlie's addiction really badly.
Really badly.
And I mean, I understand that he needed to move on. Like, he wasn't happy in his life and he didn't have any drugs on him, so he was going to have withdrawals and stuff. And so, like, moving on from his addiction was something that was good for Charlie. However, he is still very much mentally in that process. And I think they kind of really don't help him in that respect. And they don't respect him, basically.
Weirdly enough, because I would largely never suggest this in a lost situation, but I feel like this is the kind of thing you take to Jack. From the medical perspective of, like, how can we keep an eye on if Charlie might be taking heroin again, you know? Because, like, Jack seems to also be aware of the sort of psychological effects.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's very well versed on the psychological effects of addiction because his dad was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
So, like, personally, but, like, as a medical professional, he's helped Charlie through the withdrawals. And so he could then help with that situation and he could actually offer helpful advice. Not Jack as a leader, but Jack as a medical professional.
That is a really good point because as Jack is the man of science, Locke is the man of faith, he sees what Charlie's doing as like a spiritual failing. Yeah. Which is not the right take. It's not the take we need right now.
The energy we need to bring to this situation. The energy we need to bring to the situation. Obviously, John's trying to sort of feel out if he's going to lie about it, because obviously if he's hiding it, that's more serious, because that means he might be hiding, like, that he's taking drugs again. And then he could just say.
But the thing is, we as a viewer don't know if he's taking drugs again or not, so we have to keep that mystery.
Hey, Charlie, are you on drugs?
Is it really that hard? Just one of the characters just needs to go, hey, Charlie, are you on drugs? He can say yes or no, and then we can put the whole thing
And
to
he
bed.
can say, no, why would you say that to me? And then you say, well, you've got heroin in your bag. And then he'd go, shit, man, you're right. Sorry. I don't know why I picked it up. I just thought I might need it. It's not difficult. Was Jack even in this episode? Surely he was.
He was, which is interesting because in the last episode we had his mandatory scene.
I know, because I'm trying to think, isn't he? I swear a bit on the Wikipedia that he's in every episode, but I don't...
Actually, I don't think he was in this one. Oh, for 1 second in the flashback.
Oh, in the flashback. So he technically was in the episode.
Technically, yes. But what about Kate and Hurley? Were they in this episode?
I don't think so.
Roses, though.
Rose was.
Oh no, Hurley is. Hurley's hanging out.
Oh, Hurley's...
Rose
yeah.
is washing with
Hurley's
her.
chatting with Rose.
I love that bit. The washing line is a cable. That's so fun.
Very fun.
And then, you know, he's like, why don't we just use the dryer in the hatch? And she's like, I don't like the hatch. Love her.
First of all, tea. Second of all,
tea.
Second of all, yeah, why would you... Hurley, shut up. Respectfully, it's that hot. Why are you suggesting you use the dryer?
No, yeah.
Washing machine, sure. Because I don't want to hand wash my clothes. But, like... What? Hang it out. She's built a washing line already.
Might as well. Also, you're not supposed to be telling people about the hatch, right?
Well, he took her down already.
No, but like if Rose was just bundling loads of clothes into the woods,
being like, I'm just off for a walk with my dirty laundry.
I mean, I don't know. First of all, we've not had an appearance from Miss Hatch in a long, long time.
It's been a while. Also, to be fair...
2 episodes. But it feels like a long time.
They
Given how momentous the hatch is.
They shared out all the food, didn't they? So was that like a sort of... Nudge, everyone knows about the hatch now.
This is what I'm thinking.
Because also, what cover story would they have for where they got all that food from?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to ask. I was like, oh, so does everyone kind of know about the hatch now?
I think probably they don't know about the computer, but they know about the hatch. Because Jack did that big speech, didn't he, where he said, we found a hatch, we're going to blow it open and hide everyone inside. And then he went, never mind, we're not doing that. So, like, I think then probably what they said was, like, we blew open the hatch, it was full of, like, food, preserved food, we're gonna share it out with everyone.
Yeah, maybe they don't know someone was living down there.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't know.
Maybe
I'd imagine you wouldn't tell a lot of people about the button because people would freak out.
They definitely didn't mention the computer, but they might have said it was like a bunker and someone was living down there, and they definitely didn't mention they met anyone either. But I feel like saying,
they'd be like, where is he then?
Yeah. But saying, like,
Right.
there was food and, like, a washing machine, they could...
Where is
reasonably.
Desmond? It's a good question.
Where has he gone? Because okay, so we've got one direction here of a day and a half journey to the tail section.
Yeah.
He must have gone in a different direction.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's a big island, but...
We don't know how big.
We don't know how big, but he's not crossed paths with any of them.
No. That would have been a really great opportunity, wouldn't it?
Can you imagine?
That'd be great.
If in, like, this episode, he suddenly come out of the jungle and then just gone, I don't have time for this, and then kept running? That'd be hilarious.
Literally at any point on the journey, it would have been really exciting. Like when, you know, Jin and Echo were looking for Michael, if they'd have seen Desmond, neither of them know who Desmond is. That would have been
To be fair,
mad.
Anna Lucia would have shot him.
And Lucia could have shot him.
I feel like what would have been great is if we had a moment where Desmond emerges from the jungle, says something or like looks at them and then runs away again. But with the tail section characters, that never would have happened because they would have like done what they did with Jin, where they like knocked him out and tied him up and was like, where are the people you kidnapped?
And no one can corroborate his story this time, so they probably would have killed him.
They probably would have been like, he's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, what about this though? Desmond's running through the jungle. He's not looking where he's going. He collides with another person. That person happens to be a woman stood at the bottom of the cliff about to climb up. Cindy. Then it's like, whoa, who are you? What?
Cindy knows Desmond from before the island. She goes,
Flashback.
Desmond?
You! And then
goes,
they run off into the
"Cindy?"
jungle together.
And then they run off and they have great accents together for the rest of their lives.
The end.
This is what happened. I know this to be true. They also saw Vision while it's okay, he's fine.
Yeah.
He's chilling. I was going to say something much more relevant before we went down that.
I can't see how you could think of anything more relevant than that.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. Anyway, but we haven't seen the hatch in a while. I guess we couldn't, I guess that's where Jack and Kate are.
Oh yeah, probably.
That's the kind of implication, I guess. They're in the hatch. Doing computer things and showering and all of that. Nonsense.
Looking at the lava lamp.
Just going, it's crazy. I feel like Jack really truly gives me the energy of someone who would really zone out in front of a lava lamp. I feel like, especially at the state he's in, well, I don't get the feeling he's slept more than like 2 hours since the crash happened. And he's just been through a lot, and I think he would really benefit from like being sort of plonked in front of a lava lamp for like 4 to 6 hours and just being like, I'll come get you when we need you, and then he can just sort of
Yeah, truly.
and just look at it. I think it would really be good for him.
Yeah.
Meditative, you know?
Yeah.
That's what he's doing this episode. He's going to come back a refreshed man.
Yeah. You know, like,
Trust.
you need to go outside and touch grass. It's the opposite, because they've been outside the whole time. It's like you need to go inside and stare at a lava lamp. Okay, so in terms of closing thoughts on this episode, I'm going to ask you this.
Okay, go on.
Why do you think it's called Abandoned? Because I've not really put my finger on this one yet.
Because Shannon was abandoned physically by her father and then emotionally by her stepmother, and also financially.
And then by Boone as well.
By Boone physically via death, and then by Saeed via not believing her. I guess she feels very alone and abandoned in this episode.
And also that's what she says about Walt as well. I thought that was a really lovely line, and it was really well delivered. At one point she says, it's when she tells Saeed that they found the bottle with the messages, and she goes, and that means Walt is out here and he's all alone. And it's like, oh, first of all you go, oh my god, that poor kid, he's just out there on his own, he must be terrified. And also then you go, oh, that's how Shannon feels, and this is why she cares so much about finding him, because she kind of feels like she's floundering and all alone as well, without Boone and without anybody who can, you know, believe her, or like, you know, who she even really knows.
And I think also she has this, in these kinds of scenes, she has this really great character dynamic come out that you find a lot, where like someone who feels they had to grow up very fast as a child reaches adulthood and suddenly feels so much younger than everyone else, that she's suddenly like, I'm just a kid and I'm out here all alone and I'm scared and I want someone to help me, and no one will help her. You know?
Yeah. Sorry if you can hear
our fridge buzzing in the background.
Girl, our fridge has
Take
just
a
decided,
deep breath. She just started doing this a few days ago.
Out of nowhere, we'll just make this weird noise.
I'm just going to talk over it. Also, I think this, with the kind of looming threat of the others, and them being so close, and this kind of like every man for himself, like shoot first, ask questions later kind of mentality you get. So, you know, Sawyer's gonna die, whatever. It very much feels like, you know, we are alone in this world and God has abandoned us. There's a bit of that energy to this episode.
Sure.
Which obviously is an energy to the whole show, but I think you really feel it this episode because they amp up the scary
You're saying
thing.
a lot of things, but yeah, okay. You're just like going, as we all know, God has abandoned us.
As we all know, we are alone on this earth and God has abandoned us.
Yeah, I'd say that that's a narrative that we're presented with, but I thought you were going to say, like, you know, they want to abandon Sawyer. Some of them want to abandon Sawyer.
Yeah, there's that too.
Some of them don't, and so maybe that's something.
Sawyer also says, I would have left you behind.
Yeah. They've abandoned Walt in a way, like they've stopped.
They've kind of abandoned their mission to find him before they get back to the rest of them.
They've abandoned Cindy.
They have abandoned Cindy in a sense.
My girl. Justice for Cindy. # justice for Cindy.
I miss her.
Miss her already.
Yeah, but I think it's a bit of a vague title.
Yeah.
I definitely, we said this when we were talking about Unfound, but like, I hear abandoned and I just go, what? What episode is that?
Yeah.
Because narratively, if I'm thinking like, what happens at the beginning of season 2, it's like, okay, they find the tail section and they get back together, and then of course Ana Lucia shoots Shannon and then they're like all together again. But it's like, I wouldn't be able to tell you what that episode is.
Exactly. And I feel like a lot of them aren't one word as well.
No, it's quite rare.
And when they are one word, that word is usually very, like, relevant. So I'm thinking about, like, orientation.
Special,
walkabout. These are words that are, like, used
very
within the
important
show.
To the episode.
Yeah. Whereas abandoned, it's kind of a bit like, oh, maybe they abandoned their mission to come up with a good title for this episode.
Maybe they did.
Maybe they ran out of ideas. Fuck it. Maybe it said, like, episode 7, they're abandoned, and they went, oh, cool, abandoned.
Maybe they had, like, a backup list of episode titles where they were like, you know, if we can't think of one, any episode could be called Abandoned.
I see.
You know?
What you mean. It's almost a synonym for Lost.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
We'll just call one, confused, scared.
Yeah.
No escape.
Ooh, that's a good one. there's nothing.
That's good. Nowhere.
Ooh, that's fun. Empty.
Like, I feel like they probably had this list going and then they were like, fuck it, abandoned.
We're shoving it in. Yeah.
Works well enough. It's fine. But anyway.
But, you know, I mean, I think I would say, so what, we're 6 episodes in?
Yeah.
To season 2. I would say this is the weakest so far.
I would, but I would also say that actually I think it's a very good episode. I think it's another one that's grown on me as the series has gone on. I think first watch, I dislike Shan a lot more than I have the longer I've kind of grown to sit with the show.
Me too.
I think initially I was just like, I don't like her, and so I don't like her. But I think the more you, like, have to sit with the, like, greyness of the characters, the longer you can be like, actually, okay, give us some
Absolutely.
credit.
One of the great things about the show is that every character is kind of morally grey in some way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, yeah, it's very hard to have clean-cut opinions on them. And that's great.
Every character has the thing they do that you don't like.
Yeah.
And this is like the moment, and yeah, this is the moment where it was like the opposite for me the first time around. I was suddenly like, oh, I like Shannon now. And then I was like, oh, never mind, okay.
But I just remember groaning. The main thing I remember from this episode is just groaning when Saeed says, I love you.
Because it's just like, I don't believe you.
I don't believe you.
And I don't think he does. And I've talked about why, but I think, to me, the whole relationship is very performative. It's very much done. It
just feels forced. And that's on the writers, really.
On the writers, yeah. You can try and wrangle it to look at the characters, but it just, to me, it just will never really work. Also, like, isn't Saeed supposed to be, like, 38 or something?
No, but Shannon dates older men. This is the whole thing.
Yeah, but the whole point of her character development is that she's trying to break the cycle and take control of her life.
I know, which
why is
makes
she
it so
dating
stupid that they force this relationship.
A man who's like nearly a whole legal adult older than her.
I don't think he's meant to be 38, but
he's meant to be like at least 30.
I'd say so.
Which is like
a good 10 years older than her, yeah.
We've talked about it before, and obviously we'll be putting it to bed.
We will indeed. No more will you hear us bitching about Saeed and Shannon's relationship, because it's well and truly over.
It's finished now.
Yeah. One fun thing to end on, unless you have more to say.
No, I don't.
We kind of had a bit of a spoiler that Shannon was going to die early on, because I remember watching it with Mum and Dad, and really early on in series 1, Mum went, I don't remember those two at all.
Yeah.
About Boone and Shannon.
She did not remember Boone and Shannon remotely.
And it's like, oh, okay, so both of them died. Great.
And then
Wonderful.
It was like Boone died, then you were like, okay.
Shannon's TikTok.
And I mentioned this to Mum, like, I think it was like after we finished series 2 or something, and I was like, you really didn't remember them at all? Because obviously I was very upset about Boone. And she was like, no, she was like, at first I kind of didn't remember them, and then like, a few episodes in, I went, oh, no, I remember what happens to these two now. And I was like, that's worse.
Yeah.
At least she didn't say that. At least she didn't say, I remember what happens to these two now, because then I would have gone, okay, they're definitely going to die.
I mean, I kind of expected that they would. But this is the thing as well, I think early on, you think there's going to be a lot more death than there is, because it's like, it's a desert island, do you know what I mean? And then you kind of get to know all the characters a bit more.
I feel like by the time we had Boone's actual death, I'd kind of forgotten about like all those preconceived ideas and the things that Mum had said about the show. And also, like, I think when we first started watching it, like, they'd kind of both emphasised, like, I don't really remember the plot that well. So I was like, oh, there's loads of characters, it's reasonable you'd forget one. Obviously, it's not in the grand scheme of the show, but it's like, I was kind of like, they probably just forgot them.
Yeah.
But no.
But this is the weird thing. In my memory, Shannon dies really soon after Boone dies. Like,
it's quite a big gap, isn't it?
There is quite a big gap.
I think because we watched it quite quickly.
We did.
When we were first watching it, we were watching like 2 episodes a night. Which I know isn't like crazy binge, but it is obviously much quicker than it was being consumed when it was being released.
Yeah.
And much quicker than we're doing it now, so it feels much longer.
Absolutely.
But then equally, like, it felt like Claire was gone for ages.
Yeah, when we first watched
But actually, she's only kidnapped for like 3 episodes or something.
4, I think. But yeah. But I think the key thing here is that there is a big gap in terms of episodes between when Boone dies and when Shannon dies, but you don't actually have that much screen time for Shannon in any of those episodes.
Yeah, so it feels like you don't get any emotional moving on from the death. Also, in terms of timeline of the island, it's not been very long.
It's not been that long, but yeah, I just kind of feel like Shannon doesn't really do that much after Boone dies.
Because they didn't have any ideas for her.
Yeah, even though she does, and the Waltz plotline is really interesting.
Really interesting. And then it's like, let's not follow through on that.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, it is a shame because, as we say, I think the actor's very good, Maggie Grace, who plays Shannon. And, you know, I think we do get to like her a bit more, especially in this episode.
Yeah,
but...
and I think it's a real shame as well because I read about someone on Tumblr, I forget who, said they met Maggie Grace at Comic-Con and they said to her, like, I love Shannon. And she was like, wow, no one else does.
Oh.
And I was like, oh. I was like, God, no, I feel bad for being so mean about Shannon. Because it's like, she must have had such a backlash. And I know and obviously, like, celebrity culture is worse now than it was. But I know how terrible fans can be to actors who play characters they don't like. They can be, like, absolutely awful. So I imagine she didn't get very nice treatment.
Yeah, probably not, unfortunately.
For being on Lost, which I think is a real shame because she did do a good job. I think she did a very good job with what she was given, but
also, at the end of the day, I'm not that sad about Shannon.
I'm not devastated. Obviously, I was much more upset about Boone, but that's a personal thing.
I mean, I also couldn't really
In the grand scheme of the plot, it doesn't change much to lose either of them.
I'm more upset about Cindy getting taken, and we've literally had 3 lines from her.
I've only had Cindy for an episode and a half, but if anything happened to her, I would kill everyone in this room.
Literally.
Yeah.
I'm pissed off. I just don't understand why we can't have any Australian characters. Like,
have to say, we might have to cut this might be a spoiler, but I remember there being way more tail section survivors. Like, to me, because, like, obviously with the front section, we have, like, the main characters, and then we have, like, the extras.
Yeah.
To my memory, it's like you have, you know, Anne Lucia and Echo and Bernard and Libby and Cindy, and then there's some extras whose names we never learn, who just come along with it, and who... I mean, in my memory, there was about 9 or 10 of them that joined the group, and that some of them were just extras who blended into the background, and some of them were characters who stuck out. But that's obviously just not how it went.
Yeah, I think I... maybe would have thought that, but I know because of how they behave and how they react to everything and how frightened they are, I really remember it being a very small group.
I mean, I remember it being a small group, but I would, if you'd asked me to say how many, I would have said like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
And I think 5 feels very small.
5 is very small.
Especially to lose one so early.
Yeah, and now we only got 4. It's like we're only introducing 4 new characters when we had the whole tail section.
Yeah, like the tail section feels like a revolutionary thing, and then it's like, and there's only 4 of them.
Yeah. Wait, hang on. 4. That's why Cindy had to get taken.
That's why Cindy had to go.
Okay. Well, I feel a bit better about it now. But get rid of Libby, no one cares. Keep Cindy.
Cindy's more interesting than Libby on account of the accent.
Exactly.
Although the psychology thing I'm kind of interested in.
Yes, to be fair, there's a lot of psychological stuff happening on the island.
Yeah.
So to have someone who is trained in that, like we were saying about Jack with the heroin addiction and stuff, like maybe she's gonna be able to help people or provide new insight at the very least
and
into
it kind
what's
of
going on.
Links in with the philosophical stuff as well, thematically speaking, because a lot of them were also, a lot of the like early philosophers were also like, have been cited in psychology.
Yeah.
So a lot of that is probably going to come up. But yeah, I think we'll discuss more of that next week.
Guys, next episode.
And I don't feel like that's
good.
A spoiler. I don't feel like that's a spoiler to say, because I feel when I give you the title, you're gonna know. So the next week we will be discussing episode 7, The Other 48 Days.
I'm so excited.
And when I tell you, this easily top 5, maybe top 3 episodes of all time.
Absolutely. I love The Other 48 Days. It's so fucking good. It's one of my favourite episodes ever.
It's so good.
Oh,
maybe top 5 episodes of TV ever.
Oh yeah.
Like, to be honest with you.
It's so good.
To keep it 100. So we are very excited to speak to you next week.
We are.
And yeah, we will see you then.
I fear we're gonna be here for 3 hours next week.
We will. It might be a long one, but you never know. To be fair, we've said like the ones that we've been really excited to talk about. Sometimes we have less to say.
True. We've been going for a while today, to be fair. And I was like, jack shit happens in this episode. Brackets, 2 main characters die and 1 gets kidnapped.
He's not dead.
He's not confirmed.
He's
dead.
just passed out. Anyway, we will see you next week. In the meantime, follow us on social media.
Yes, please do.
All of our accounts are in the description of this video/audio. We are on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Tumblr, Facebook. There's another one. Spotify. The
big one, really.
Always forget Spotify. It's because we don't really... It's not like a social media in the same way, so I forget it off the list.
However, I'd venture to say it's the most important.
Maybe is the most important. I feel like I assume you guys are on Spotify already. I feel like you know we're on Spotify. You're here.
As you know.
You're here with us.
You can follow me as well at Ariel Hebditch on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. I will be doing gigs, probably stand-up gigs, if you want to come and see me do stand-up.
She'll have stuff on.
Yeah, I got stuff on. I've got a rich life. Hey,
booked and busy.
I don't know what my life will be like when this episode comes out.
For all we know, by the time this has come out, Ariel's gone viral, and we're announcing that she's on the next season of Taskmaster.
Yeah, I was literally just about to say that. I was like, guys, you can catch me on Taskmaster.
Is this why you've dyed the hair red?
How would that be related to Taskmaster?
Because, like, the red, the stamps and stuff.
Oh, right, okay. You said that with such authority.
All of Taskmaster is red. Picture the stage.
Yeah, true. I would spray paint a TM into my hair if I went on. So that's one reason to get me on. If there's...
Alex, guys, if you're out there.
If you're listening, please, I'm begging you.
I am also available.
But me first.
We'd make a great duo.
Because think about it. People always say the team of 2's at a disadvantage. But we would be an advantage.
You've not seen us play Obama Llama.
We are so mentally in sync.
We crush our parents every time.
Absolutely we do. Obliterate them.
I think maybe my favourite moment of our insane connection that has ever been is the game Taboo. And you're going to know what story I'm going to tell.
Oh, yeah.
So the game Taboo, if you don't know, is like you get a card that has a word on, and then you have some banned words that you can't say. And if you say them, the person like honks. They're like the taboo words, and you get like honk, this like horn in your ear. And you have to describe the term to your partner without using the words. So my word was sauna, and it was like I couldn't use steam or like hot or like Swedish or something.
Oh, probably.
Yeah. It was like I couldn't say those words. And Mum was looking over my shoulder, was like, ha ha ha, how are you going to do this one? Started the timer, and I went, so you know in that booking.com advert? And she just went... She like threw the horn down and just went, what?
Criminal. Actually criminal.
I was like, you know the booking.com advert with the American guy? What's he in? And Ariel went, sauna. And then we went, great, 1 point.
I mean, as great as that is, it also pains me that it was an advert. Do you know what I mean? Like, we watched so much telly back then.
We've been watching so much, like, daytime E4. It was, like, Christmas holidays.
Yeah, we used to watch E4 all the fucking time.
It was, like, Christmas holidays or summer holidays or something. We were both off school. We were, like, sort of early teens. I think I was in, like, year 7. And it was, like, all we did with our time was watch daytime E4. And so we'd watch the Booking.com advert many times. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like Big Bang Theory. It was like all we watched.
That was our life for a long period of time. That's crazy.
Or Futurama DVDs, which brings us back to Matt Groening.
Absolutely.
And on that note, I will say I think we should shut up and wrap this one up.
We absolutely should.
So we will see you next week for the other 48 days. Thank you so much for listening.
Tune in, guys. It's going to be so fucking good. Yes!